Have you ever been on a date or just interacting with a woman and felt like she was completely uninterested? It's a common experience, and most men interpret it as a definitive no, a red light, end of story. But what if I told you that what you perceive as disinterest is often something else entirely, something far more nuanced? The truth is, desire isn't a simple on-off switch, especially in those delicate early stages of connection. What men often label as disinterest is frequently just uncertainty. And uncertainty, my friends, is not rejection. It's a pause, a moment of internal processing, a space where everything can still change. True attraction rarely begins with absolute certainty. It starts with a feeling, a subtle shift, that the mind hasn't quite decided how to interpret yet. And that space, that beautiful, mysterious gap between feeling and decision, is where the magic happens. A woman doesn't desire a man because he verbally convinces her or performs for her approval. She desires him because something about his presence, his energy, subtly alters how she feels within her own body. She might feel safer, calmer, more aware, more alive, a profound internal shift. And here's the kicker. That kind of profound shift never comes from effort. It comes from regulation. When a man is internally steady, grounded in himself, he becomes externally influential. Not through pressure, not through trying to get something from her, but through contrast. His calm creates attention, yes, but not anxiety. It creates curiosity, a gentle pull. One of the first, most powerful places this shows up is in how he looks at her. Not a stare, not a performance, just seeing, a quiet, acknowledging gaze. When a man holds eye contact without urgency, something truly subtle yet powerful happens. Her nervous system begins to slow down. She feels acknowledged, deeply seen, without feeling evaluated or judged. That kind of gaze doesn't demand anything from her. It simply communicates presence. I am here and I see you. And presence, true, unhurried presence, feels incredibly rare in a world full of men trying desperately to impress. Another crucial layer most men overlook is sensory memory. It's not just what you say, but what lingers after you leave. Scent, for instance, plays a powerful role here. Not as a crude seduction tool, but as a deep subconscious association. The human brain ties smell directly to emotion, to memory. A subtle, familiar scent doesn't just remind her of you consciously, it recreates how she felt around you. Calm, grounded, at ease. These are powerful anchors. This is why subtlety matters so much. Anything loud, anything overt, immediately triggers analysis, resistance. But anything quiet, anything that slips beneath the radar of conscious thought, often slips past those defenses. However, none of this works if your own nervous system is chaotic, if you're internally frantic. Women don't primarily respond to your words. They respond to your state, to the energy you're radiating. If you're tense, rushed, over-invested in her reaction, she feels it immediately, even if she can't articulate why. Attraction, genuine attraction, often fades when a man is trying to extract a reaction instead of simply embodying a desirable state. That's why truly grounded men don't chase. They arrive already centered, already whole. Before any interaction even begins, emotional regulation is paramount. A man who feels internally supported doesn't walk into a connection seeking validation. He walks in already full, already complete within himself. He doesn't need her to complete him. And that fullness, that internal completeness, profoundly changes everything. His posture, his tone of voice, his timing. It removes that subtle, almost imperceptible neediness that so often repels desire. When you spend time together, most men default to predictability. Safe conversations, safe environments, safe emotional ranges. But safety alone, while important, doesn't shift perception. Emotion does. Not intensity, but experience. Seek out moments that introduce novelty without chaos. Situations that gently wake her senses without overwhelming them. Shared experiences that feel distinctly different from her everyday routine. Something memorable. The brain powerfully links emotion to proximity. If something feels alive, exciting, or deeply peaceful while you're present, then your presence naturally becomes a part of that positive memory, that powerful association. What truly matters then is how you move through the world around her. Not just how you treat her, but how you treat everything and everyone. Men who are socially at ease, who are comfortable in their own skin, broadcast stability without even trying, kindness without performance, confidence without dominance, leadership without needing to announce it. Women are incredibly observant. They notice how a man handles small moments, an unexpected inconvenience, a moment of silence, transitions between activities. These tiny, often overlooked moments answer questions she might never ask out loud. They reveal character. And when initiative does appear, it works best when it's quiet. No grand announcements, no seeking approval or applause. Action without display, simply doing what needs to be done or what feels right with quiet confidence. That kind of behavior signals something far deeper than mere generosity. It signals self-trust. A man who trusts himself. One of the most powerful mistakes men make is rushing physical confirmation, trying to lock attraction into certainty too early. But desire, true desire, grows in space, not under pressure. Restraint, a subtle withholding, creates imagination. And imagination, that beautiful mental space, is what creates pull. It keeps her thinking about you. When a man leaves a moment slightly unfinished, a conversation with a lingering thought, her mind continues it without him. That continuation, that mental engagement, is precisely desire forming, taking root. Of course, none of this works if a man's identity completely collapses around her response, or lack thereof. Attraction strengthens when she feels that her interest is genuinely welcome, but never, ever required for your well-being. Men who are truly evolving don't chase attention. They attract attention because their lives are inherently moving somewhere meaningful. Self-mastery changes everything, not perfection, because that's an illusion, but consistent, dedicated progress. A man who regulates his own reactions, refines his habits, and invests deeply in his inner structure becomes unpredictable in the best possible way. Not because he's playing games or being mysterious, but because he's simply not needy. He's complete. That internal stillness, that profound groundedness naturally creates polarity, warmth without attachment, interest without hunger. And in that unique space, psychological tension emerges quite naturally, not from manipulation, but from genuine contrast. He speaks less, but with profound intention. He listens more than he feels the need to fill every silence. He allows pauses to exist, comfortable in them, without feeling the urge to rescue them or make them better. His presence, simply his presence, does the work for him. Attraction isn't built by desperately trying to be chosen. It's built by becoming someone whose energy naturally invites curiosity. The final truth is simple, yet often uncomfortable for most men. You don't make a woman desire you by focusing solely on her desire. You do it by becoming a man who feels complete, whole, and deeply aligned in his own direction. When a woman feels seen without being consumed, safe without being controlled, drawn without being chased, her entire perception of you shifts dramatically. And sometimes the man she once overlooked, the one she initially thought was uninterested, becomes the one she simply can't stop thinking about. Not because he changed her mind with words, but because he changed the entire emotional atmosphere around him. Desire doesn't start with effort, it starts with alignment. And alignment is always felt deeply and instinctively, long before it's ever truly understood.